Hey everyone! Please excuse the awful lighting that's going on. I've been trying to figure it out and make it work for about 10 minutes now, and it's just not doing it for me today. So you'll kind of just have to bear with me. But today I'm making a video about my dreads. I have been getting a lot of questions about them, and I just kind of wanted to talk about them because I like them. So this video is basically going to be me answering a bunch of questions that I get about them a lot, and just rambling about them. So yeah. So first of all, I guess I'll begin when I first decided that I wanted dreads, and that was when I was about 10. I'd just gotten back from a trip to Byron Bay with my mum and my sister, I think. And if you don't know, Byron Bay is a beachy town in New South Wales in Australia, and I think it's safe to say that it's pretty well known for its hippie-ish kind of people there. A lot of people there have dreadlocks, and when I went there when I was 10, I was just in awe of all of the beautiful people there, and I guess I was just kind of dazzled. And I was also quite a hippie, so to speak, back then as well, so that also influenced me quite a bit. But yeah, I know, basically I got dazzled by all the hippies and I decided that I wanted dreadlocks. Obviously I couldn't get them at that age because even though, I don't know, I guess they're not that much maintenance really, but I don't think I would have been really responsible enough to take it seriously. But then when I was 16 and I had gotten more into the gothy sort of thing, I heard about synthetic dreadlocks, and I just thought that was the coolest thing ever because, you know, dreadlocks aren't permanent and they come in crazy awesome colours. Who wouldn't want that? So I looked into that and I found that most of the dreadlocks were sold in sets, so they were quite expensive, and understandably, I mean, it takes a long time to make them and it's a lot of work. So then I wanted to try and make my own out of the, what was it, Kenkalon fibre or something, but I couldn't find any, so that was kind of put on hold for a while. And then when I was, I don't even know, maybe 17 or 18, I don't know, my girlfriend at the time started giving herself dreadlocks, and she had a mohawk of dreadlocks. It's pretty cool. And one day I was staying over at her house and she just said to me, you know, I'm feeling really fiddly today, can I make a dreadlock in your hair? And I was like, oh my god, yes. And so that was when I got my first dreadlock, and that was, I can't remember the exact month, but it was around halfway through last year. And over time she just kept adding more, and then she taught me how to make them, so I added more as well. And then in December last year I paid a professional to touch up the current ones and then add some more, and then a few weeks ago I got him to come back and do the rest for me because it takes a really long time. The first session with him, which was just touching up the dreads and adding a few more, that took I think 4 hours, and then my more recent one was only an hour and a half. It's also very expensive, which is something to keep in mind if you're paying someone to do it, and I mean, it's like, I'm fine with it because I love my dreads so much, and I love the way that he did them and everything. But altogether it probably cost like $300, or actually more than that, I'm pretty sure. Maybe $400, I don't know, it all depends on your hair length and everything, but that's around the cost that it was for me. There are two different methods to how I had my dreadlocks done, because a lot of people ask me, you know, how do you make dreadlocks? So the way that my ex and myself did it was, see if I can find a bit of hair. It's got some loose bits, here we go. So pretend that, you know, this bit of hair is like way up at my roots. So you square off a bit of hair, then if you can see, you twist it like that. Probably can't see. And then you take the end and you split it in two and you pull it upwards like that. And you keep doing it, and it creates lots of knots, and you just keep on going till it makes a full dreadlock. When you first make dreads in that way, like with this method which is called twist and rip, it makes them really fuzzy, and they just like stick out all over the place, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, you just have to wait it out for at least a few weeks until they settle down and they start to lock up, and then they start to look a little bit more like these dreads, but even then it takes months for them to sort of come out like that with that method. But as you can see already from that bit, it looks pretty messy when you first get them, but I mean, they're dreadlocks, so, you know. But the method that the person did that I paid them to do, he backcombed them, and then he went in with a crochet hook. I don't actually know exactly how it was that he did it because obviously I couldn't see, but yeah, So if you want to know exactly how that's done, there are plenty of videos on YouTube, I'm pretty sure, of how to make dreadlocks with that method, because a lot of people use it, and I personally much prefer it because instead of having it all fuzzy and weird like this, the dreadlocks come out very neat and more confined and tight and everything. The only thing is that they still stick out everywhere, but still not to the extent that the twist and rip method does. The only thing, from what I've heard, is that crochet hooking your dreads can be a little bit risky and it can damage them. I'm not completely sure of the entire details, but yeah, that's the gist of it. But so far so good with mine, even though they're pretty new. But yeah, I mean, you know, what are you gonna do? Another question I get, which is not as often because people just assume that it's not really a thing that happens, that is how I wash my dreads, because if you don't know, it is actually very necessary that you wash your dreadlocks or they're not really going to work. They're not going to lock up as quickly, and when new growth comes along, it's not really going to knot up because it'll be too greasy. But I use a very basic method. I just wet my hair and then I spray some diluted apple cider vinegar. I spray it on my dreads, but mostly on my scalp because that's the main source of all the oils and grease and everything, which then moves into your hair. So yeah, and that does the trick pretty well. But I'm looking into getting some dread shampoo because I think apple cider vinegar is a little bit too intense to be doing so often, because I wash my dreads every 3 days, about that. Sometimes I leave it a bit longer because they don't need to be washed as often as normal hair. I still think it's a bit intense. But yeah, that's really it. That's all the questions I can think of that I really get from people. But yeah, I really, really love my dreads because, I mean, I've gone through a lot of hairstyles in the past, but out of all of them, I just feel the most like myself and the most happy with my dreads, and I think that's quite big part of that is just because I've wanted them for so long, and I've felt like it's a part of me that I haven't really ever been able to have because I didn't know how to take care of them or even how to make them, and I didn't have the money or the resources to get synthetic dreads. So yeah, it's kind of a big thing for me. I really love them, and I don't think I'll be getting rid of them anytime soon. I think I'll have them for at least a few years, if not forever, but we'll see. I do plan to, if I ever get them cut off or shaven off or whatever, I'm actually going to keep them with the beads on and everything. I'm just going to stuff them in a jar and keep them forever because they've just made me so happy. Yeah, but that's really it. I guess I'll give you a quick overview of my dreads, I guess. They look a bit short, but that's mainly because of the headband. They're actually a lot longer when this is out. They've grown quite a bit since I first started getting them. Getting dreads was quite an overtime thing, so they're all at different ages, so I can't tell you exactly how old they all are, but yeah, so it's the side and stuff. Yeah, so that is it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this answered all of your questions, and I will see you next time.